No idea what happened there. Hello again, friends, and you are my friends. I went to speak and the music continued. But welcome to Talking Town. It is, of course, a Sunday. I'm going to zoom myself out. This is always after a home game. I bring it in for the match reaction and then forget to take it back. But there we are. We are live. Welcome one, welcome all to discuss the game that was Ipswich Town 0, Liverpool 2. And we want to know your thoughts and feelings this afternoon. Let us know in the comments. There'll be a live link as well to come on the platform and have your say in only your way. It's your club, it's your team, and you all got your opinion. So please, if you're sitting at home, if you've got something to say, live chat or hit that live link. STST said Liverpool didn't beat Ipswich. Mo Salah did. We did amazingly well without Salah, one of the top 5 players in the world. It would have been 0-0. Can't grumble at that. Adam says good afternoon all. Never had a massive smile on my face after a loss before we showed we can compete at this level. I'm confident we will stay up. Mike D. First 45, we can be proud. Just must take our chances, i.e. the Amari one. Second half was a joy to watch, Trent. I think the Burns injury changes it and felt it was a tad negative to bring Johnson on. Let us know your thoughts. We're going further. Don't forget, we are partnered with Match Bingo. Play Match Bingo, win cash prizes. How you download Match Bingo is on whatever app device you go and get your apps from, and every time you play you do support the crucial work of the East Anglian Air Ambulance, and they've got a fantastic offer to start the season. So start the season off with a bang, get £20 free when you deposit £10, and all Premier League games for August, buy 3 cards, get 2 free. That £20 free when you deposit £10 runs until the 19th, I believe. Do check the T's and C's. Over 18s only. Be gamble aware. Afternoon Town fan says, Charlie, Richard Smith, we competed so well. A few players looked overawed, Taylor, Burns, but that pass on the basis of this, well, that will pass. On the basis of this, we'll do more than survive. Bring on City. And of course, I was talking about bringing things on. Here is my cohort today, Mr. Matthew Phillips. Probably checking his social media. How you doing, Matt?
Good. You okay?
I'm very well. What do we want the people at home to do today, Matthew?
We want you to like and subscribe. I've got bugbear about this. We're getting thousands of people watching, very few likes. All the effort we put in mind, we just want people to press the button.
That's because you're on it. That's because you're on it.
yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, just press the button. All the effort we put in, just press that like button. It helps other people see the show.
Imagine it being like Mortal Kombat, right? Every time you hit the like button, Matt's credibility of being the platform goes down. So if you don't want Matt on the platform, just hit the like button, right?
You can't afford to lose anybody else.
That's a good one. I like it. No, but look, yesterday was a big game, a big occasion. First time in the Premier League for 2 decades.
Yeah.
A long time out of it, but now we are back, a part of it, and I'm looking forward to discussing the day that was with you and everybody at home. Let's break it down. Let's start from the very beginning, really. I'll tell you a story. I turned up at the stadium nice and early because I was massively excited. And the first thing I see as I pull into the road opposite Curve Bar, which a name escapes me while we're live, is a half and half scarf seller. And I thought,
yeah,
okay, welcome to the Premier League, I guess. Turned the corner, saw another one, went round to the fan zone, saw 2 more on the way. But I'll tell you something, Matt. They appear to have sold out. And quite a few people ended up wearing them. But half and half scarves, it splits opinion. I want to know what those at home feel, but what do you think about half and half scarves?
Yeah, I'm not down with a half and half scarf. Although I will say, to be truthful, my one regret of when we went out and played Inter at the San Siro was that Inter were actually doing like official half and half scarves. And I didn't get one because of how principled I was, Martin. That's one regret. I do kind of wish I had that. Certainly when we was in League One, when you wanted to look back on yesterday, get a bit nostalgic and wish you had those memories. But yeah, I mean, they're very entrepreneurial, these vendors, aren't they? I mean, they've got like the old, the payment machine hanging on their
belt.
Yeah,
card or cash. Or cash. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, crazy. I mean, that was the one critic. Listen, I know I get sort of principled on all these kind of things, really. The purist in me. But it does like turn into Portman Road theme park, doesn't it? You now got a queue to get in the shop. They've got the barriers, like you say, you've got half and half scarves. And you've got families turning up like it's a day at Alton Towers with matching rucksacks. My inner ultra tendencies doesn't like it. But I mean, look, it's where we are now. And it was great. What was it, 30,014 now? It was brilliant. But I could do, the train was, I had to miss one train at Chelmsford. It was too busy. So I had to get the second one. I could just hear me dad's voice from above going, "Where were these people on a cold Tuesday against Reading?" But there we go. Everyone's part of the gravy trade now, aren't they? Exactly.
It is the tourist league. Let's be honest. You get a lot of people from not just United Kingdom, outside. It's a global. Look how often they go to the States for tours, etc. So of course, there's that interest, not just from Liverpool and Ipswich.
You had a really good view from over at the Cobbold, but on our side we had down in our corner flag was Michael Owen, Darren Bent, and the presenter, which I would presume was the Premier League World Feed. Then a little bit further along was Dutch TV, because Martin Royster was there. I don't know who the guy was with him. I've got obviously Arnie Slot being of interest there, and then obviously in the middle you've got TNT, haven't you? Because you can see Crouchy Amalov.
Yes. Oh, yeah, of course. Love Crouch. That's interesting, actually, before we come back to the half and scarves. Actually, I watched the three, but I particularly paid attention to the TNT. And Peter Crouch, obviously, I wasn't a part of the conversations he was having, but he came across from where I was sat watching the group as just genuine. Like what you see on the camera is what you actually got in when the cameras weren't rolling. It was those bits where they weren't live and they were just chatting. It just appeared Crouch. He looked exactly as he does on camera. Yeah. And you can see his laugh and hear his laugh almost from where you were sat, and just a genuinely nice guy. And yeah, that was the world's media on Portman Road's pitch. And
there was probably more that we didn't know about. I had to take Peter Crouch through the Wembley mix zone once after an England game. We looked ridiculous. I mean, look how small I am compared to Big Dave, and Big Dave's dwarfed by Peter Crouch. So you can just imagine.
I can imagine. Yes, yeah. What a great visual that would be. Whatever happened to studios? Like, why do they stick them on the side? I don't. I mean,
well, you're going to have the skybox, aren't you, above the tunnel for the Fulham game? Is that going to be ready by? Because that's not ready, is it? That piece of infrastructure still got to go in, isn't it? So it might be that they default back to that once we're back on the telly again. Although the Fulham game, of course, is 3:00 kickoff, isn't it? So it's back to.
But back to the half and half scarves. A lot of comments coming in regards to it, mostly saying like Lean and Phillips, they are awful. Mike D, bin. Rob Holmes, not for me. Paul P, in the bin. Mike Baker, half and half scarves, get in the bin. And Tom the Triplets Dale, great point. I thought this myself. It shows when you're getting old, right? Half and half scarves, it's not even cold. I saw people wearing them, and I was thinking, you must be sweltering.
I think they're okay if you've got some kind of connection to the other half. Do you mean like one of the German fans gave me
no, they're awful, Matt. No, I like to be balanced on the show and try and bring the other side to it. I can't even do it on this one. They're awful. What are you doing?
Yeah, no, I wouldn't be wearing like Liverpool.
Chuck a 5 note or whatever how much they cost in there, a charity tin or whatever. I mean,
how much they were? A fiver?
I got no idea how much they were. I got no idea. I'm just guessing.
You did inquire your journey down.
No, I walked past thinking, not many people will buy those. And as I came back from the fan zone, one guy had sold out, and I was thinking,
there you go.
Huh? I was blown away by it.
It was I can only presume it was the Liverpool fans wanting a bit of Ipswich, their little souvenir from Ipswich on the day. I've been to Portman Road, the home of the back-to-back McKenna football.
No. The stately home. Do not forget the famous line from Sky against Swindon. The stately home.
The stately home of English football.
Yeah, and then moving it. It is good, yeah. And then moving on into actually, inside the stadium. Excuse my pronunciation and grammar there, but a banner gate, as I'm going to christen it.
Oh yeah,
it's split opinion on the socials. Then again, nothing's new on social media, but
surprise.
For those that don't know, obviously there was a banner where Blue Action were responsible for, which said,
good.
I'm not saying it didn't. The future is now, and it came down from the top of the Sir Bobby Robson stand down to just sort of, I don't know, halfway through the lower stand of the north. Some have said great, loved it, almost want more of it. I think I've seen. Some have said, now I don't want to say it's ruined their day, but they've certainly waited a long time to see the team come out as a Premier League team. There was obviously the pyrotechnics, which is right in front of me. Mark Ashton, thank you very much for the fireworks and the.
I thought he was looking a bit red.
Mate, on a hot day, the last thing I wanted was fire blasting out of the turf, but I got it, and it looked good, and I'm not complaining about it. Although, if you could lower the fireworks, that's just so I could see them as opposed to blue smoke. Appreciate it. But anyway, back to the banner. What are your thoughts on it? Because it's split opinion from what I can see.
Well, I mean, look, over in the Pioneer stand, I thought it looked great. But the problem you've got, of course, is that Blue Action do these things I don't know how well it's communicated to the fans that are going to be in the North Stand. For example, like, because we're copying what you see on the continent. We've talked about this stuff like loads of times. That's all coordinated and communicated between hundreds and thousands of people. They know it's going to be in there. It's part and parcel of the match day experience that's going to happen when the teams come out.
Yeah, but sit in the North Stand and expect these sort of things?
Well, exactly. I mean, is that part and parcel of being that experience? But I think probably it isn't, because people don't know about it. So I think probably, you've got to probably communicate. All I saw was that Blue Action said there will be a display in the North Stand or wherever it's going to be before kickoff. But maybe it just needs to be communicated what it's going to be. It will drop down into the lower tiers. You won't be able to see the teams coming out or whatever it might be. They used to have that big shirt. Do you remember? They used to have the big shirt that used to fly through the North Stand, didn't it?
Yeah, pass along the bottom of the North
That's
Stand.
A little bit better, isn't it? Because that's always movement. There's movement there. It's fluid.
Yeah.
It's only in front of you for a few seconds. I think we had that in going back to the San Siro, the Inter. I think that made that journey as well. But, I think British fans, English fans, they want to have that kind of like ultra culture until it affects the match day experience. And then you go back to Portman Road theme park again. I can't see anyone coming out.
Well, no, yeah, a little bit like not in our community sort of vibe with, in terms of housing. People want housing being built, and then when they sort of propose it in their own sort of towns or villages or whatever, they say, no, we can't do it there. And I thought, I mean, I agree with that, because we all hit like and retweet furiously when Borussia Dortmund and other clubs do it on the continent, and we go,
the yellow wall.
Wow, what a display. And then when it happens, at our ground, and I've got no problem with it. I mean, and I can say that sat in the cobblestone, of course, it's not my view being obstructed. And I appreciate those that perhaps didn't want their view obstructed, but you are in the North Stand. That is traditionally the heartbeat stand of the football club. They've been the ones that, traditionally have been the loudest and certainly asked for managers' heads and chairman's heads in the past and celebrated the good times. That's the stand that Paul Lambert stood in front of when we got relegated. Why? Because that is the heartbeat, as it were, of the football club. So you have to kind of expect that, I feel, a little bit, that these displays, whether they're communicated effectively or not, are going to happen, and they look great to the outside world. Like, take that as a source of pride. I know you didn't see what you wanted to see, but take that as a source of pride that the world's media, the world's eyes saw that banner, saw our football club. They're not going to see it against Fulham. It's not a TNT game. It's not being broadcast around the world. Well, it certainly probably is, but not live. That's the game to do it. That was the first game back. I loved the message.
Brilliant.
The future is now. And then, of course, you had people sort of moving it back so they could see, and then it sort of got distorted, which disappointing, but I can understand again. So I feel for these people, but I equally think you've got to have these displays if you want to be a football club that's,
it goes back to the original point, doesn't it? They're probably, rather than keeping it you want it to be a bit of a surprise. Like, no one knew what he was going to say or what it would look like, so you got that kind of surprise element. But I think the people that are going to be affected by it probably needs to be communicated a little bit more, because.
But how do you do that, Matt? Because you've got thousands in that stand, and
you
can't do a committee based. Like, you can't take votes, because you're never going to get anything achieved.
No, exactly. And that's where it's different on the continent, because you've all got these little subgroups of fan groups in those ultra areas, and they all talk to each other, and that's how it's all coordinated. And that's why it always looks so good. And that's why you get the yellow wall at Borussia Dortmund, because everyone knows exactly what the role they're playing in that stand. And we're not quite there yet, but I thought the display was great and it would look good on world television. But still sleepy Suffolk at the end of the day. And if people don't want their view affected, and that's the issue we've got. We sit between two schools of thought at the moment, I think. But maybe it's something they can work with the club on, to say, this is what's going to happen. This is how far it's going to drop down in the future. These seats will be affected, etc., etc.
I agree with that, because something's going to happen. Obviously, those types of displays, they do work on goodwill, don't they? You've got to have the goodwill of the people to help pull it off. And I know that I saw on Friday, I think, where blue was sort of being mentioned, and we want to turn the place blue, etc. And I don't know how well that sort of went in terms of if people did it or not. I just noticed the banner. But Sean says, Blue Action pay a lot of money to enhance the fan experience and atmosphere. I vote for Crowd Hyper's coordinated efforts around the ground. So there we go. That's the banner. Let us know what you think and feel on that one. Moving on to the game. Do you know what? I wasn't ready for the sudden wave of emotion that hit me when the players left the handshakes and ran towards me. I was fine all morning, and then suddenly, as they all sort of charged towards me after the Premier League music, I suddenly had the wave of emotion, like literally almost burst into tears. And I'm not a person who cries very often or very easily, and I was like having to hold it back because people who I love aren't here to see this. I never thought I'd see it. Certainly in my lifetime, I'll be honest, I thought the club was drifting, and then obviously you get back with new owners, McKenna, and even then the Premier League still felt unachievable until it was suddenly like, oh my God, we're staring it directly in the face. But to see it run towards you, that was the moment it hit me. How did you feel having that Premier League music, those handshakes, and that sort of 5 minutes before kickoff?
Yeah, I didn't really get emotional about it particularly. I mean, we've had lots of, under Game Changer and McKenna, we've had lots of ups, haven't we? And, what was the last time we was at Portman Road was to win that game in order to get to the Premier League, which we did. And I don't know, for me, it just felt like part of that, the continuation of that journey, I suppose. But yeah, you got the little subtle changes, haven't you? With the Premier League music and everything, and the fireworks,
don't like it,
all that kind of stuff.
Don't like it. Terrible music. Terrible music.
Fair enough. I just not
Champions League level, is it? Where you can,
I did think some. No, exactly.
Awful. It's awful.
Yeah, we'll email in and see if they can change it.
Oh yeah. Martin Lambert from Talking Town don't like it. Well, we better change it then, Dave.
We've got some royalty-free submissions here you could use going forward. Save you a few quid. It was just it was just another chapter in the book, isn't it? That no one saw coming, particularly. You're back-to-back promotions, and then here we are in the Premier League, and away we go. I mean, look, I remember the campaign under Birdie really well, and when we finished 5th. For me, it just felt like we were back to where we should have been. All these dormant years, the doldrum years, the 2 decades of doing nothing, just treading water. It just felt like we was back home a little bit. Hopefully we can stay there for the next 12 months.
Well, this is it, and we'll get into the actual game in a second. I remember being, I was 11, 12 in that Burley Premier League era, and I remember being a really football hungry kid. Like on a Monday morning, I'd get to high school, the only year I did do high school, and I'd consume the newspapers, and I never read a book or a newspaper in my life. And the teachers were flabbergasted that I was reading these broadsheets and all this stuff about Ipswich. So I was literally any media I could get my hands on, I was hungry for, and I kind of lost, a little bit of that hunger as we've drifted, and you've had to really stick at it almost as a fan sometimes. And this was the payoff. This was the payoff. And last night I'm watching Match of the Day. I'll be honest, I ain't seen Match of the Day in about 10 years. So that was new.
It's 60 years, isn't it? It's 60 years of Match of the Day. I didn't realise that, and it's just great to see. I was watching the titles, thinking, I hope Kieran appears.
And he did,
and he does. So yeah, just to be part of all those things again, it's new, isn't it? Like I say, I mean, when you've been away from it, Ipswich Town have been out of sight, out of mind. Not us, of course, and that's why I think there's been such an interest when we suddenly re-emerge. Out of us. Well, I called it that. Man City called it this, didn't they? When they went down to the 3rd tier, they said we're down amongst the dead men. And that's what we've been. All these clubs that are never going to get anywhere near the Championship, or never anywhere near the Premier League. And we've gone down and we've come back up again. And the stately home of English football, as Sky and you called it, the doors are open and we all walked in. Yeah, it's brilliant to be part of these things. Even the little things like the press conferences, like on that Thursday that Kieran did, and now you're getting all half an hour of it on YouTube and etc.
Oh, are we? Oh, lovely. I was about to say, why aren't they broadcast?
I watched the whole thing. Yeah, I don't know if it was a legit feed. Someone had obviously taken it and had it. YouTube.
Is that knock at the door I hear? Who got blue sirens?
No, it was on YouTube. So I mean, I don't know if there's like influencers or content creators out there that just take all this stuff and just stick it on YouTube. I've got no idea.
I'll have to have a look.
What happens for Man City? Yeah.
I got a thing every night when I get into bed. I have to read The Athletic, and I read about 15 articles on them that are always appear to me.
We've got a dedicated reporter.
No, but there was 4 articles or 3 articles on Liverpool Ipswich, why Town shouldn't lose heart, tactical switch. It was great. I was like a kid in the sweet shop reading these. I was like, this is awesome. Finally, we've got some, decent content to sort of get your teeth into and really sort of read about. And it was really interesting, and it backed up some of the thoughts and the things I had post game. And yeah, the first half, if I didn't need to go to the loo so desperately, I'm having drunk so much water pre-game, I would have really clapped those lads off at halftime. I was the most proudest Town fan.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
That I've been as a fan, because they gave Liverpool one hell of a 45 minutes. You know, this is a team that had, was it 8 players in the starting 11 that played in League One, which I think is probably unheard of if it's ever happened before. Other players starting that didn't really have Premier League experience. And they really gave Liverpool fits, and they played them and they fought with them. They won every duel. And Arne Slot himself said after the game, I didn't talk about tactics at halftime because there's no point if you can't win your duels. And that was the challenge to the players: go and win your duels. And they even made a tactical change because they weren't getting the joy. How did you see the 45?
Yeah, Canate. Well, we said, didn't we? We said, you said to me, what would you like to see? We just wanted to see that the continuation of that momentum that's driven us over the last couple of years, and you saw it in bucket loads, really. I mean, Colin made a really good point to me. I don't know if he said it on the show. I don't know if he said it on the show to you, but he said, like, just Morsey. He came in, didn't he? He drops from the Championship down into League One. And Colin said he was like here, and then you saw a little bit of an increase into the Championship. He steps up to that, and you saw it again yesterday. Like, there was a question mark, wasn't it? Like the old school enforcer, will he be able to live with that kind of Liverpool midfield of like McAllister, for example? And he did. I mean, look, are we shocked? No, not really. I mean, that he reads the game so well, Morsey. For someone who's probably, not the quickest, he reads the game fantastically well, which is why he's gone from League One to the Premier League with Ipswich, right? It was just fantastic. And as Alan, I don't want to get too much bogged down into tactics talk, particularly.
I love tactics talk.
Yeah, I know you do. I find it a bit boring, to be honest.
Long pit long. That's you, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, get to the big lad up top. But I mean, Shearer made a really good point when they actually looked at the game last night, and they said that how Ipswich pressed right from the top with like a line of 4. So it was 4-2-4 effectively when Liverpool had possession, which is why they couldn't really pass through the channels. And that did change in the end, didn't it, into the second half? And they had a lot more possession in the second half, Liverpool, and more passes, and they got the ball through quicker, and that's how they scored the goals eventually. But for Ipswich fans, Ipswich players, McKenna, ownership, just brilliant that first half, and it shows that we can compete. But then again, no 90 minutes is ever the same, isn't it? And let's not forget, we were good for an hour. We weren't good for 90 minutes. I do wonder whether or not the last 30 minutes
hour. See, I question that. I still maintain, and I have to watch it back to sort of reinforce my view. 45, we were great. Second half, we came out, and Liverpool took control earlier that second half, and then never really gave it back. I still maintain that. I don't think it was an hour.
It was still 0-0 though, wasn't it? So we were still. We were still in the game effectively, is what I mean.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No, accept that. Yeah, accept that.
Yeah. I can't remember what I was going to say now. But
let me just jump in then while you think about what you were going to say on Sam Morsey. You're right. He's gone through the levels, and I really thought the referee, who came in for some criticism in terms of yellow cards, etc. I actually thought he managed Morsey pretty well in those early exchanges, because this is you come in as a referee, you know a little bit about the players you're going to be refereeing. You hear things, you see things, and Morsey's got a reputation, whether you like it or not, of being a player that sort of is a magnet to yellow cards. But he managed him really well. He didn't sort of buy into that reputation early. He didn't sort of say, "Oh, first tackle, let's nip that in the bud nice and early. Here's a card." He managed to Morsey
he did
really well.
He did with the other players though. I mean, he got the yellows early. Amari, Burns. Who was the third? Wolfenden, wasn't it? Wolfenden after 5 minutes.
That's it. But with Morsey, he put his arm around him, he talked to him, and then Morsey sort of settled into the game. And I think the referee understood the occasion and really managed that quite well. And I wanted to say that because referees obviously often don't get praise. And I wanted to just highlight what I saw while I was there with Morsey making those early tackles, because it is hard as a player. You're hyped up. It's the first game. The fans are electric, and it can be sort of frenzied in that first sort of 5-10 minutes. But that's how I saw it. But on Morsey, Rolls Royce yesterday, playing in tight areas, tactically always very good, and just a sign of what McKenna's done with him as a player. He was good when he arrived, but he'll leave or retire from this football club 3, 4, 5 times the player, because McKenna's made him levels above.
You saw Rarity yesterday. Even he went down injured, didn't he? He had to have the physio come on. I mean, how many times have we seen that over the last, 3 seasons or something?
Heart in mouth moment. I was like, no.
He's got. Yeah. I mean, that was one down, wasn't it? Of course, with Wes being put through on that right side, and he feels the hamstring. That's the only thing with Wes, isn't it? I mean, like, you can't have everything, can you? It doesn't take much for him to get an injury, does it? Or a niggle. But then again, he's a very quick healer, as we saw against Sheffield Wednesday. Who would have thought last season he would bounce back and end the season with us? But that was a turning point, wasn't it? I mean, when we talk about whether or not we was in the game, that's what I was going to say now. I've just remembered. We was unlucky on the subs, I thought, because we made those subs, didn't we, at 1-0? And then within seconds, it was 2, wasn't it? They never really, whatever those instructions were at 1-0, suddenly they kind of made a little bit more redundant at 2-0, aren't they? Because you're out of the game against Liverpool, really, at that point, aren't you?
Yeah, and you can't, they took their chances in the end. Well, they started to create more. Obviously, Jota had that chance, which I think was Jota from the Trent Alexander-Arnold
header.
cross.
The header.
Yeah.
See, now that to me, I said to you yesterday, no, that to me kind of embodies the difference between the Football League and the Premier League, I think. Just the quality of the delivery, how it goes in at pace, and in the speed of thought of that, whoever that attacker might be, or an attacking midfielder, like Jota coming into the box and finding the space. That's the difference. You don't really get that in the Championship. Even though it's a good level, you don't quite get the same quality of ball or speed of movement into the penalty box. Now that is the difference. That is the 1%, 2% difference between it, really. I mean, it's great to watch, isn't it? I mean, bloody hell, was it 2 years ago we said on Friday night playing Bleeding Morecambe? Watching sticking the ball into Jota and Salah, right? So that is the difference. I mean, look, that's another thing, isn't it? At 2-0 and there's still 25 minutes to go in the 8 minutes injury time. And it was backs to the wall. What was it, 6-7 blocks or something? I think they had 6 big chances Liverpool in the second half, didn't they? I pretty much think that's how Man City are going to start against us next Saturday. So I think that was probably good practice for how that game's going to start at the Etihad, I think.
Yeah, and Liverpool, and again, top level stuff, tactically tweaking things. Arne Slot looked in the second half to invite the town press and get the ball forward in behind quickly. Because if you noticed, the centre halves were instructed get tight to the 10. So Greaves would often drop into the hole with their 10, whose name's escaped. I think it starts with an S.
With the really long name. Yeah, I know you mean. Don't even bother. Don't even bother with that one.
Fair enough. But he would drop in, and that's where their first goal came from. If you watch it back, Greaves has gone with him, leaving the space in behind. Davis is caught. And actually, if you watch Mo Salah's movement, that's what catches Leif Davis, because Mo Salah goes, stops, then Leif looks back to see if the pass is coming, and then goes again. Yeah. Those are the little things you don't see on TV. Perhaps
I'm gonna have a go at saying it here, Martin.
Go for it.
Szoboszlai
sounds good enough to me. But
Jessica Jury's watching. Is that right? We said it correctly.
Yes, no.
I think with that goal, watching it back on Match of the Day last night, I think Leif gets caught in the appeal because he's put his hand up for offside, hasn't he? And I think that where he's just got his mind in there thinking, oh, I'll appeal for this. Again, there's the difference, isn't it? The speed of thought of Salah to get away from him.
That's more of a desperate appeal.
It was very close, wasn't it? I mean, it was very close. I mean,
was it? I thought Wolfie was playing him on by a good 2, 3, 4 yards.
I think he got caught there a little bit. I mean, let's not forget, Leif started League One quite slow. Do you remember he gives away the penalty against Bolton on that opening day?
Oh, I'm not criticising Leif Davis.
I think he'll just need a little bit of adjustment there. And
Matt, you can't adjust to Mo Salah. Mo Salah has made many fullbacks, whether they're played in World Cup finals or not, look absolutely silly. And I think if you watch it back from my first look, his movement is what beats Leif, not Leif being ball watching or not, not up to standard. It's Mo Salah being Mo Salah.
So So even back the tape up a little bit more here. What did we say? When Leif made his debut in League One, now he's marking Salah, right? So I mean, look, there's no criticism on that. I just feel like he lost a yard or half a yard with the hand in the air, and then Salah's away and the ball goes in. As we said earlier, it's a quality ball and a good finish.
And he is tasked, by the way, with big responsibility, Leif Davis. Often he is tasked with, like yesterday, for example, 1v1 against Mo Salah, and you have to believe that's a brave game. It's an aggressive game in the sense of we're going to be us, and you will have to contend with what we bring to the party, and we're not going to sit in 2 banks of 4, 1 bank of 5, or whatever. But you have to believe over a course of 90 minutes, any fullback, and I mean this, any fullback from any generation, anyone you want to bring to the party, if you leave them 1v1 against Mo Salah for 90 minutes, Mo Salah's going to get his at some point. He's that player. He's that good.
Did you like Mo's shaved head? I was looking forward to seeing the trademark hair.
I ain't bothered. I mean, as the man that loves hair,
I was going to say, you're a man who looks
disappointed in Mo, to be honest with you. Getting the haircut, I think, because it also, distinguishes him. It's his trademark, if you like. It's his image.
Where you're talking about them being obviously on that right side of that flag. If you're a kid, who's just got into football, you're a young kid, you've been buzzing about going to Portman Road, and now you're seeing Salah in front of you. I mean, they're the kind of the moments, aren't they, that keep you coming back to Portman Road. I mean, for me, it was going to watch the 81 Bobby Robson team. That keeps you coming back. And as we said earlier, when you're down in the doldrums, you don't have them moments. No one's thinking out when you've seen Cole Stockton 2 years ago with Walker, are you? Now you're seeing these Hall of Fame legends of the game in front of you, and you can go and tell your mates when you go back to school in September who you saw. I mean, it's just fantastic. And again, that's part of the experience, isn't it? On the day of being back in the Premier League, you are going to see legendary names. I mean, even I was buzzing to see Salah. Do you know what I mean? You never lose it, do you? Even at my age, you think, still, bloody hell, look, people you've only seen in World Cups and on Sky and whatever, at Portman Road in front of you.
Great player, absolutely. Town glasses off for a minute. Loved watching Salah yesterday because he was right in front of me for the first half, and he had one bad touch which he'd really want back because he was away if he takes it as he wanted to. But my days, what a world class! I'm watching Mo Salah in front of me instead of Feeney. Or whoever over the years. Do you know what I mean? No.
That ago we had Forest Green, remember?
Yeah, but do you know what I mean? Like it's mind blowing. I was sitting here literally watching Mo Salah. And by the way, the glass screen in the course stand didn't affect me at all, not one bit. So that's fine.
Did you forget it was there in the end?
Well, we're sort of too high above it. Doesn't affect
okay.
I think the bottom row or bottom 2 or 3 rows, I wouldn't be too happy. I'd be sitting on this bit in feathers, but. Because in the end, of course, people walk along it and they hold it as they go. You're just staring at finger marks, aren't you, for the next 90 minutes?
Yeah. It's Mr. Sheen.
You need a steward to come along every 5 minutes to sort of wipe it along. Do you know what I mean?
Pristine.
Before we bring the fans on or drop the link and ask people to come on the show if they want to discuss things, mention things, highlight things. Christian Walton obviously got the nod yesterday because Muric is injured, calf injury, we believe.
God, yeah. I saw you outside, didn't I? Outside the Burley bar, didn't I? And I said that was the first thing we said. Well, Walton's in. I mean, do you know who predicted Walton would start the season? Tux, when he was on with me.
He did. Holiday. Yeah, he did. Yeah. He did.
Premonition.
You're right. Yeah, he must have done. Do you know, I think thanks to managers like Pep Guardiola, you've got to split goalkeepers into 2 categories now. Or look at them through 2 different categories. Goalkeeper, traditional sense, shot stopper, etc. Distribution. And I think if you separate the 2 strands, Christian Walton yesterday had a fantastic game as the goalkeeper, shot stopper, commanding his area. But for me, just my opinion, highlighted or really I noticed what we had last year with Vaz and what you hope Muric will bring in the sense of his distribution at times wasn't as good as Vaz is, or it was slow, or it didn't choose the right option. But not his strongest part of the game.
It's not going to be. He can't be. If he had every aspect of his game was 10 out of 10, and he'd be playing for Man City, wouldn't he? Or Arsenal, or somebody of that nature. Certainly, there was less confidence in the passing out, wasn't there? I mean, there was one where they play it to the D, and it comes out to one of the fullbacks, and it nearly went out for a corner, didn't it? I mean, bloody hell, look, even Alisson, when Liverpool playing out from the back, riding the seat of their pants a little bit. I mean, it's marginal, isn't it, that the striker or whoever's pressing from the top nearly gets the ball. But I've been critical of Walton's distribution in the past, even when he was in League One, when I used to call him 2-touch. I certainly think over the 12 months we've not seen him, he has got better.
But it's no Vaz though, is he? You realised yesterday what you had the year before with Vaz.
Yeah, which is why he's not going to be number 1 at Portman Road, which is why he may still depart the club. Who knows? But he was very good yesterday, and his shot stopping was excellent. I did think some of the balls he played, he's much more happier playing that golf shot out like diagonal.
A proper goalkeeping kick.
He's much more comfortable playing that. Yeah, absolutely. And sometimes it needs must. I mean, you can get your attack going very quickly like that, I think. But yeah, he played some nice little diagonal balls. But yes, certainly that kind of like that hallmark of what we've had over the last season or so, where Hladky would play it to Morsey on the D and it goes out wide. They haven't got the same confidence in that. It would have been lovely to see how we would have distributed the ball against Liverpool with Muric starting, but It didn't happen, and I think Walton played as well as he could have done. To be honest with you, given the striking options in front of him. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, Walton, the goalkeeper, tremendous, absolutely brilliant. Particularly one instance where you could argue it could possibly have been a back pass because Wolfie did try and pass it back to Walton, but it was short. But he lunged at it, got it. Obviously wasn't giving us a back pass, and I thought he commanded his area yesterday really well. His shot stopping was on point, but Mike D says here Walton distribution was slow.
Everyone now, including myself, including myself in this, we are now judging him against aspects that aren't in his game. As you said, you've got two style of different keepers now, thanks to the Guardiola. It goes back to Cruyff as well, I suppose. You're going to draw a line straight right back into history, but yeah, and now people are overlooking the fact that Walton is a very good shot stopper, made those penalty saves, that got us promoted out of League One into the Championship. All big moments for us. Yet we all judge him on his distribution, which is unfortunate for him.
Because that's the way football's gone and going, and goalkeepers. You look at them now through those two different lenses, and
I think the irony is, Martin, of course, is he started yesterday. Haladki for Burnley. Trafford wasn't playing, but I mean, when they started their season Monday night against Luton, Haladki was sitting on the bench. Well, he could have been sitting on the bench with us, getting paid maybe double. I don't know.
Or he could have been, regardless of what he's, what he was taking home, he could have been playing yesterday. He could have
it would have been him, wouldn't it?
Yes. It would have been him. He could have had that chance again, where perhaps he's lost his place, but injuries presented itself, and he could have. I'm not saying the result would have been different. Of course, I'm not. Just he could have taken that and done what he did the year before in terms of taking the shirt or the gloves in this case and not giving them back. And he played yesterday, but I just thought that's a bit ironic, isn't it? In the sense of you could have had that.
So did they give any indication as how long Muric is going to be out? Do we feel like he'll play at City?
I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it. Michael Hallett says we fans went toe to toe for a bit with Liverpool a few years ago. We were beat. No idea what Michael's talking about. Michael, can you try and sort of correct that comment and so I can read it in the sense of
we referenced it. Obviously, last time we saw Liverpool Portman Road, a bit of 6-0.
Yes, they did.
And they subbed their keepers.
Sneaky Squid says, end of the day, Walton has still had a blinder. He absolutely did. Yeah, no criticism at all of Christian Walton, but just you
liked the two in front of him, didn't you? Wolfenden and Greaves. So do you now think there's the making of that? Is that going to be the partnership moving forward then?
It's got to be. I mean, first of all, Luke Wolfenden yesterday was sensational for me. He won everything. He headed everything. He was emotional in certain points of that second half, vocal and demanding more from his players around him. Sort of a little bit of an aspect of the game I've not really seen from Wolfie, or often called, sort of the Iceman, if you like, laid back, he's laying down.
Which was a big moment for him, wasn't it? Someone's come through the academy.
Yeah.
Come up as an Ipswich Town fan. Absolutely.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I thought it was phenomenal. And the man next to him, I don't know, there's obviously 15 million is the rumoured fee, or whatever the fee is. We ain't paid enough. We've literally robbed.
Well, they were busy, weren't they? Certainly in the second half. But yes, they just look like they're making a bit of a partnership there. And it goes back to sort of tactically and stuff. I mean, you saw three centre backs, didn't you, with Axel, and then it can move into a four with Leaf dropping back, depending on what when Liverpool are in possession of the ball. It'd be interesting to see how they fare next week. I mean, out of the fight.
You can't judge them. I mean, interesting to see how they fare, but you can't walk away from playing Liverpool, Man City, and go, your two centre halves are this, that, or the other.
Yeah, no, no, exactly. No, I totally agree with that.
If they get exploited,
they're brilliant. They were brilliant. Yeah, well, if they do, they do. I mean, look, I think the season, as you've said before to me, the season really starts. When we actually think about where can we actually pick up 3 points, where can we actually look at home wins. I wasn't that impressed with Fulham against Man United at Old Trafford.
First of all, Man United are not certainly not the team we were. They are last time we were here as a Premier League team. That's abundantly clear. And no, I thought they battled well Fulham Friday night. I just didn't.
Again, they had chances themselves, didn't they, in that game?
Yeah. I mean, that's something that you have to get used to in the Premier League, as it was in the Championship. Teams are going to get chances on each other, and it's who takes those moments in the game.
Again, it's that 1-2% difference, isn't it? Can you be clinical enough when you get a chance? I suppose the problem we had yesterday a little bit was obviously Liverpool kept getting corner after corner, didn't they? What did they have in the first half? 6, 7 corners, something like that nature. I mean, how many corners did we actually have in the game? 1?
I was watching those with interest because Liverpool have partnered with Google DeepMind and have been using AI to help plot their set pieces. And It's a great athletic article on it, and I was watching those yesterday, both defensively and them attacking, thinking, okay, how is this going to look different? How is it going to present itself in game with AI sort of powering how they plan their set piece routines?
Mad, and that is a real innovative use of tech. I mean, maybe we would do. So they actually had 10 corners.
No, we've got a set piece, haven't we? Mark Hudson, is it?
He might be using that kind of tech to be doing that. But yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's the innovation, isn't it? So we had 2 corners in the end. I mean, that's unheard of, isn't it? As we've dominated.
Greaves, free header.
Yes. Yeah.
He's got he got to put that left or right of the goalkeeper there, but we got an opportunity there. We had our moments. We just didn't.
That was the free kick, wasn't it? That was the free kick over on the touchline.
Set piece is a set piece, wasn't it? Yeah. And I was like, oh, that would have been great scoring against AI powered set pieces. Like Mark Hudson won. Google deep mind nil.
Have that Google.
Absolutely. Yeah. I was buzzing for that moment, but no, I think if Greaves, if that's the standard and he runs with it and he carries it on through the season or improves on it, he won't be here that long because he's a left-sided centre half and they are rare.
Chris Hall said that to us, didn't he? Yeah, how rare is that? Yeah, absolutely. But
he's going to be a player in this level.
Player trading model, Martin. That's one of the reasons.
Braithwaite at Everton, big money, reportedly Man United were going to sign him for. That's the level you'd be looking at because that's the premium for left-sided centre halves because they're that rare. So
it's interesting though, isn't it? How we look at these because I thought maybe that Twanzebe would get the nod over Wolfenden on that right side berth, and then there's a question mark over Ben Johnson. Well, he's starting as a right back, or is he going to become a good? He's come to play games, right? He could have sat on the bench, which is what he was doing at West Ham. So it'd be interesting. But I mean, look, the team might change per the opposition, mightn't it? I mean, when you go to the Etihad next week, it might be flat 5. Who knows what it's going to be? I mean, certainly the game's going to be played a lot in our own half from kickoff. So we'll have to see how McKenna. But certainly McKenna got the first half tactics spot on yesterday. Did you feel like Johnson was a mistake then when Burns came off?
No,
I mean, that also caught them by surprise, didn't it? You don't know he's going to. There wasn't a planned substitution, was it? It felt quite conservative to me. Certainly, when you consider Harness replaced Burns in the Fortuna game, scores in that game, showed really good kind of because he's now the new Caden Jackson, isn't he? Harness. He's going to be a utility man, could play anywhere now. Could fill a hole. I wouldn't say, what he's going to be doing.
I wouldn't say that. I would say he's somebody who's, depending on how they operate in the market in the next week or so, could see his position in the squad sort of coming under threat, personally. And I thought the Ben Johnson substitution yesterday highlighted the need for a left-sided player. And that sounds strange because obviously it was a right-sided player that went off. But your lack of options meant you couldn't really bring anybody else on. You had no other option than Ben Johnson at that stage, which because if you move Amari over and you bring Chaplin or leave Chaplin central, who's your left-sided? Amari was obviously operating that left-hand side. So who's the right-sided play? Like it just sort of highlighted the need still for somebody to be an out, and I'd like to see an out-and-out winger, really, personally, just so you can offer a different option in game. As somebody who, as opposed to somebody who can tuck himself in, as McKenna sort of likes. But whoever they bring in, I still feel that highlighted it. Because who else did you honestly have to bring on that you could have felt could perform in one of those?
Very
key
good
areas?
point. Because you've actually with Hurst being injured, you've been forced to play Delap. We know Delap can play over on the right hand side. Yeah, as done for Hull. He was very good yesterday, wasn't he, Delap? And he sat on me and said to you after the game. He reminds me of a striker from way back when. Sort of barrel-chested, burly striker. He's got legs like a wrestler, already. He's huge. I mean, the moment they didn't actually show on Match of the Day last night was the turn, wasn't it? On what was his name? Kwanzaa, was it?
That was
phenomenal.
That was poetry in motion, Matt. That was. I said on the match reaction show yesterday.
Got up and cheered that.
It was great, and obviously I was right behind it, and the ball came over to him, and I scanned the field around him, and there was not one single Town player around him, and I'm screaming, support him. Because I'm thinking he's going to bring it down, look up, and go,
it was phenomenal.
And he just sort of went, "Don't worry, Gov. One touch and he's gone."
But you're right though. You know, had Hurst started the game and then you bring Delap on, because Hurst never finishes games. You know, Delap could have gone over to that right side with fresher legs, maybe. Who knows? But you're right. I mean, hopefully we'll see a bit of movement this week on that left side. They wasted a lot of time trying to get Philogene, and they got buggered about a bit there, didn't they? Really, and he ends up just going back to Villa, going back to square one again, doesn't he? Hopefully there might be something an iron in the fire there, but. You know, I think the fact that you saw Phillips and Smodics happen very, very quickly. I mean, look, Calvin Phillips took everyone by surprise, didn't they? So who knows what irons are in the fire that may suddenly emerge. I mean, the Napoli kid will hopefully be announced tomorrow. I mean, we know he was in the director's box yesterday. He could start at Manchester City next week. I mean, if you're talking box to box, as we said on Friday night, Cahusta, he looks really good. He looks a really good player.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I just think left wing and a striker. I really feel last year McKenna liked to have that 1-2 option off the bench. One being a speedster, that was obviously Caden Jackson, and the other one being almost a like for Hurst. You know,
Caden scored yesterday. Did you see it? Like a 75-yard sprint.
Yeah, I did, and not like for like, because obviously Kiefer Moore wasn't like for George Hurst, but someone's very similar with some very similar attributes and profile of the main striker. Haven't got that at the moment. You know, if you want to keep with a hold up man, inverted brackets for those listening, if you take the lap off, who are you bringing on? You haven't got that at the moment.
They've been chasing Ioannidis, I suppose.
Yeah,
even that's gone quiet, hasn't it? But he can't be the only option. No, we'll just have to wait and see.
And obviously, I know Hurst, sorry to cut across you there, is only injured, and I say only, for 8 weeks, but 8 to 10 weeks in football, particularly Premier League football.
You'll get back up to speed again, haven't you? Against that level of opposition. You ain't playing, like we said earlier, you ain't playing Forest Green here, are we? You know, it's baptism of fire each week. I was going to say here, Danny, when me and Chandler went and had a drink in Colchester last night, we were saying, you know, so was that the most away fans we've ever had in the stadium? I think as a top flight allocation, 3,000. I know Leeds bought a lot, didn't they, when they're at the top of the Cobbold that time. So what kind of criteria have you got to be hitting it all as a Liverpool fan with a global fan base of millions and millions and millions to be in that top 3,000 people to get an away ticket at Ipswich Town on the opening day of the season? Honestly, God knows.
Maybe Danny can tell us, or if you want to click the link, Danny can come on the show. I have just dropped a link. If you should so wish to come on the show, I will drop it once again in case you missed it with the active live chat. And it's really good to see an active live chat. Thank you so much for those that are making comments.
Fans on as well. It's brilliant. Love it.
Yeah, love it. Subscribe while you're here. Keep track of how we're doing this year. We'd love to hear your thoughts from a Liverpool's perspective. But links now in the chat. We have also partnered up with SolarWise Roofing and Building Services Limited. So if you've got a roofing issue, or if you want to put solar panels on the top of your roof, and that's big things now, isn't it, Matt? Solar panels on roofs, like you see them everywhere.
Sustainable energy, absolutely. Why does this not come through? Is it because like all the big electric companies don't want to lose a pound note or something? Yeah, I'm all for that. Yeah, sustainable energy, brilliant.
Yeah, absolutely. So roofing services, UPVC roof line, groundwork services, solar panels, a whole manner of things. Give Shane a call. I have several chats with Shane. He sounds like a really good guy. 01206 628 544. SolarWise Roofing and Building.co.uk for Roofing and Building Services Limited. That's SolarWise. Thank you very much for your partner with Talking Town.
Here's a question for you then. As the one someone just said in the chat there, and I was thinking this yesterday, Phillips, of course, won't play, will he, against Manchester City next week? Is that a bit of a blessing in disguise, do you think, to maybe get him up to pace on the training ground and our patterns of play and all that kind of thing? He's not really played that much football, has he? Competitive football, the cut on thrust, the Premier League over the last year, particularly. He didn't play that much for West Ham, did he?
I was surprised he didn't come on. I was sitting there as McKenna was making his subs thinking at some point we might see Phillips, but how are we going to do that now with Taylor on the pitch and then Harness on the pitch? I was thinking, and then Schmodic come on, and I was thinking, okay, because if he brought Phillips on, and let's say he brought Axel off to change the shape from a back three to back to a 4, who are you moving right and left with sort of 3 central players in Harness, Taylor, and Schmodic? And I'm thinking, we ain't going to see Phillips, are we? You can't. I mean, unless you see it's literally square peg, round hole, you weren't going to see him, and we didn't see him. And, you know, disappointment, obviously. You can't see him next week. You always want to see a new player.
Here's another question for you then. So you got Morsey, Luongo, Phillips, Cahusta to come in. Where does that leave Jack now? And what did you think of Jack yesterday? Because I thought he'd done all right, but he even goes toe to toe with Salah. I think he knocks him to the ground, which I thought was, you know, when you talk about, you know, people you've just seen on TV, then you face them in the cut and thrust of action. and you're on a level playing field with them. I just wonder maybe like because Humphreys obviously is going to go out on loan. He's been linked to Wickham, according to the news, right? I do wonder whether or not if you've got that four I just mentioned, if maybe Taylor will go out on loan as well. But then look at the goalkeeper situation, and he takes an injury to change the dynamic, doesn't it?
I saw some goodness and I saw some, I won't say bad, but I saw some adjusting to Premier League life. Now, first of all, I've not played at any high level, but you have to understand as a substitution, it can sometimes be hard to come into a game and pick up the speed of the game instantly, particularly when you're making your first start in the Premier League, having never played in the Premier League.
They are just human. They got nerves.
Yeah, and I saw a little bit of that where at times he had the ball and suddenly someone's round him and he wasn't sort of maybe expecting it. Once he got into the flow of the game, I actually saw some really good from him in the sense of there was one or two passes where Shimodix was making a move, and having played together, you saw their understanding, and Taylor immediately was trying to pick him out, which is a little bit of a pre-made chemistry, which is always good for a new signing. If you've got somebody in the team or squad
who played with each other at Peterborough.
Well, he called him his brother on social media in the sense of, good to be back with my brother.
Brilliant.
Shows the closeness of the two. And so I saw some good and I saw some bad, but in terms of where does it leave Jack Taylor, leaving the bandwagon reins off to one side as on the Jack Taylor bandwagon driver, probably in that meme with the guy on the outside looking in, because you've got Mass and Morsey have got so much credit in the bank. You've now got or will have Cayusta, who he's not a bad player. This is a player arriving from Napoli with international caps. A growing reputation.
It's a level above. Let's be real about it. It's a level above, isn't it?
And that's not disrespectful to Jack Taylor. That's just
not at all. It's just
the reality of where his career is compared. And then you've got Calvin Phillips, who was Calvin Phillips. He played for Man City. He's commanded big fees. He's played for England. We've got England managers in Euro tournaments saying we're missing Calvin Phillips. You're on your fifth option, I think now.
Yeah, but this is Jack could become a victim of the success that's taken you through the back to back, and then you get to the Premier League. Yes. And then you are prioritising, a Calvin Phillips, whoever it might be, to come in and take those spots.
But we said that last year.
They're further down their career, aren't they?
We said that last year with Jack Taylor in the sense of the club has. And I think the club has, progressed so fast. It's even caught people within the club
surprised, right?
Because you all dream of going back to back, but is it a reality? Well, probably not.
Done so rarely.
You signed Jack Taylor, who is a development player developing in his career.
Yeah,
all the attributes are there. All the arrows are pointing up. If you've got your dashboard, as Ashton's got, this is a player who can be very good in boom, boom, boom. But then the club says, well, actually, we're going back to back and progressing faster than the player can. And we said so many times last year, the club may progress faster than
You've always
said
Jack
Taylor
can. Humphreys being another one.
Yeah,
exactly. Now he's getting shipped out.
Absolutely.
But on the flip side of that, of course, Taylor brings you some attributes that you don't see in the squad. Like, we know he's got a rocket of a shot. I mean, that might be something you might need to lean on against Man City. Do you know what I mean? When you've got chances are few and far between, but then you've got, I don't know, something comes out of a set play, a corner, or if you get a rare corner, comes out to the edge of the box. Who do you want over that? You'd want a Jack Taylor, wouldn't you? To test the keeper from distance.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's hand it over to the guys and girls at home. We've got Danny, who doesn't have a webcam, but is happy to talk to you, Matt. He's a Liverpool fan. Danny, welcome in.
Hey, boys, you all right? Yeah.
How you doing, Danny? You all right?
Yeah, sound. Can you hear me all right? Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. What did you make of us then? Little Ipswich against the might of Liverpool. What did you think?
I thought it was good. Yeah. I watched it a couple of times last year in the back half of the season, and I thought it was good that you didn't sort of change the way you played, even though you was playing against a team you knew that obviously I don't want to sound big-headed, but obviously did have the better quality players.
Of course, yeah. Absolutely.
A lot of the time, I've been going for 25 years, and you see a lot of teams come up that have done really well in the Championship and then sort of lose who they are when they come up just because they're trying to park the bus. But realistically, unless you've got the top defenders, you're not going to be able to park the bus against these teams anyway. So it's better. And if you look at the teams last year, I'd say in terms of there's not sort of the quality of players or anything like that. But the style of play is kind of similar to what Luton did last year, and they were by far the closest to staying up out of all the other teams. And as I say, you should defo stay up if you play like that all season. Obviously, with the Premier League it's a long season, and it's about squad depth and things like that. You will know a lot more about Ipswich's squad depth than I would. But if you can avoid too many injuries, then I think you should be just fine playing like that.
Exactly. What is the criteria for Liverpool fans in terms of getting that away ticket? That's what.
Yeah, tell us. I'd love to
know. So yesterday, I think was 3,000. I think.
Yes.
And that's one of the bigger ones in the league, because I think the rule is it's different in the Championship to it is in the Premier League. But it depends on who we're playing and other things come into it in terms of like where it is and what time the kickoff is, what days it's on, things like that.
Is there a points allocation? Is there a membership? How do you sort of qualify?
So it's all based on how many you went to last season, and obviously that rolls on every year, all the way away games only, and it's only in that competition. So you could have every credit in Europe and 0 in the league, and vice versa. So like yesterday, I think the site's been having some issues at the start of the season, so the sales have been like shorter and like close to the time. I think it sold out on 3 away credits this week. Wow. But that's more because Ipswich is obviously quite far away for us, and it's 12:30 in the morning. So, and I actually had a ticket, but I didn't go just because I gave the ticket to someone, but I didn't go myself. And but that was because the coaches were leaving at like 4 in the morning.
Danny, before I let you go, my man, and thank you ever so much for coming on the platform. You're welcome back any point. How do you think Liverpool will do this year, having seen you for the first game?
I'd take top 4 now. I think the thing is, like, we've had Klopp and that for years, and it's been dead settled. But I'm very much aware that I've had the pleasure of watching the best of the best for years, and I've seen them win everything in person. So I'm more than happy just to see what happens now, and barring us like being in any sort of relegation threat, which is unlikely, then I just give Slot a few years and see what happens. No pressure in terms of sacking or anything like that. We've not, obviously, like, we've got money, but they're not too keen on spending it. But the squad's good enough. Klopp was happy with it, so there's no gaping holes. I don't think. You can always get better, but I think it's more about sort of letting the manager find his feet and figure out what he wants to do with the squad than actually achieving anything this year for us.
Excellent. Danny, appreciate you coming on, my man. You look after yourself. All the best of the season.
Nice one. Have a good one. Good luck for the rest of the season. Yeah, hope you stay up.
Cheers, Danny. Appreciate it, and welcome back any time. And obviously,
he made a good point there. Martin. Danny's saying Slot finding his feet in the Premier League. McKenna's got to do exactly the same thing
with a different squad, very different squad. But he was sort of, Danny there, tongue in cheek about relegation. When you're a top side like Liverpool, your relegation is probably finishing 5th, 6th, or 7th, right? That's where a Slot will be really judged.
The expectation, yeah.
It isn't the relegation zone; it's top 4 as a minimum, or certainly the target. And if you don't finish it, that's when look at Eric Ten Hag. That's when the question marks about your reign, etc. And he got off to a good start. And I thought yesterday tactically was very good, and I'm sure he'll be fine.
He was the first Liverpool manager to win their debut competitive game.
Graham Souness,
91.
Unbelievable.
God,
unbelievable. We think about all those good managers.
Would be against us, wouldn't it? Never mind. People forget, right? When we won the top flight title under Ramsey, the Shankly took Liverpool up from the 2nd division into Division 1 that season as well. Nice. So they have been down there a few years back now.
Football's a different kettle of fish as it was to then. But appreciate Danny coming on. That's the power of the platform. Anyone, whether you support Town or not, is welcome on the platform. Whether you're on this show or other shows, click the link, come on and have your say, because it is a fan platform for every single person.
Did you buy a program yesterday?
No, but my mum did, so I read through.
Yeah, I got one.
I like the artwork.
I got it here. I went and got one yesterday. I very rarely buy them these days, but I might try now. We're in the Premier League. try and get all of them for this season. It was very good.
How much?
And it was £3.50. And interestingly, when he's back on the show with us, one of Chris Hall's good friends now is the lead contributor, Dave Bowler, who used to do the West Bromwich Albion programmes, award-winning programmes. So for him to be involved in kind of the content and the writing of it, I think it'll be a very good read. So yes, and the front cover is great, isn't it? Really good, local artist, I think. Yeah.
It's if you read the first page, it's a project, or second page. It's a project they're doing, I think, for the course of the year, where they're going to have different artists that are locally creating stuff coming on. And I thought that was really good. Really good. Yeah. And if he wants to, sell any services in the sense of like, I want some artwork done, I'll give you a call, because I thought it was tremendous.
Need to get George in the mix for him.
Absolutely, yeah, George. I'll submit George. He'll hate me for it, but I'll submit it. I'll submit your name, George. Don't worry, mate. I'll submit your name. But George is certainly up there with these people in the sense
of course.
How good
fantastic artist. Fantastic.
Amazing. Stephen said, what about ITFC taking out credit facilities against future TV moments commonplace to keep up promoted sides? I haven't seen it, Beep, if I'm honest, so I can't comment until I've seen what it is you're talking about.
That sounds too complicated for my brain.
Sounds a bit like what Norwich did, the sense of, doesn't it? Like you're borrowing against the future TV money, or not, if not Norwich, some other.
Oh, right, yeah.
I don't know. I've not seen it. I can't comment on it. But yeah, okay. Moving us on from a Liverpool fan, we've got an Ipswich Town fan in being Frank. Frank, how you doing? You well?
Hello, Frank.
Yeah,
hello.
Fine, Matt. Hi, Martin. Yeah, fine.
Another Merseyside accent, though.
Right there, Matt. Good to see you, lad. But in all seriousness, I thought yesterday Ipswich played pretty well. The first half, I thought we more than held our own, and maybe it was an energy issue in the end that deprived us of ending with a draw. Would have been great, wouldn't it? But energy levels dropped by about 10-15% in the second half. Now, that's understandable. We're playing in the Premiership, and I know Kieran McKenna would work tirelessly to get his players up to the mark in terms of what they could do in terms of fitness levels in the Premiership. So what went wrong is maybe the adrenaline was pumping in the first half. Town, as a collective, tried too hard, worked too hard, and they were found wanting the last 20 minutes. But all in all, I was quite content with what I saw, and it's encouraging, to lose 2-0. Now, against Man City next week at the Etihad, and on a WhatsApp group, I've been talking about this with Tractor Boys Social. They seem to think that if we lose 3-0, it's acceptable. Anything more than that, and it might wreck our confidence. So if we lose 3-0 or 4-1, 3-goal deficit. And remember, under Kieran McKenna, we haven't had back-to-back defeats. So this would be the first time, if it happens. I have an inkling that my heart is telling me we'll get a draw, but my head is telling me we'll probably lose 4-1, 5-1. What do you think?
Is that anything to do with the radio show, Tractor Boys Social?
No, this is it's called Tractor Boys Asian Tour. It's all the people, Town fans that are located in Southeast Asia. When I went over there, I went to Phuket. I'd never been to Phuket before, just to see this group. And a guy called Peter runs it, and I'm always chatting with them because they're on a different time scale. So I'm chatting with them at strange hours in the morning or in the evening. But it's a good way of communicating. I've always tried to do with Ipswich supporters all over the world. I think it's a great community. It's wonderful, and we should be proud of it,
Well, you get on our Discord, 24/7, 365 Town Chat there, Frank. Get on the Discord. There's always lots of comments flying about there. Sometimes I log in and my page just sort of nearly self-combusts with the loading sign of the reams of messages. I love it. And I read through them and I'm like, I could reply to that, but it's like 4 days ago. So it just would be strange at this point. But how did you mentioned Town there sort of running out of steam a little bit. I think Arnie Slot himself said, Town went 1v1, very brave, but we felt they couldn't necessarily keep that up through the course of a 90 minutes. And it is very tough, isn't it, Frank, when you go 1v1, high tempo, to sustain that?
Yeah, I think so. What I find actually interesting, I'm looking at the BBC account of the game, and I think this is from the BBC. They have, I think, a vote for their favourite players, and I'm looking at the Ipswich players, and Jacob Greaves got 6.23. And this is a bit that surprised me. Well, Christian Walton, not 590, but Omari Hutchinson, 592, and Liam Delap, 592. I don't know if that's a little bit of bias creeping into it a little bit, or the heart ruling the head, because I'm looking at some of the other ones. Leif Davis I'd have to say, if I'm really brutally honest, of the defence, he was probably our, dare I say, weakest link, in the sense that you could argue he was to blame partly for the first goal and for the second goal, definitely, because he didn't mark up. But he's playing as an attacking wing back, and these are the risks you take. I mean, it happens with Liverpool defenders too, whether it's Robertson or the other guy running down the flank. So it can happen, but. Of the defence, I thought Christian Walton was outstanding. I thought Luke Wolfington was very good, although he didn't get much of a mention. Jacob Greaves, as we say, he was also very good. Axel Tunzabi, I thought he was also good. And you're looking across the back line, and if you want to highlight one aspect of our performance yesterday, it was our defence. And the way and probably the midfield falling back, because we were under the cosh when we were 2-0 down. And I had a horrible feeling this could go to 4 or 5, because chance after the chance Liverpool were missing. I mean, Jota's header. I mean, it looked like, 99 times out of 100 he puts that away. And I thought, wow, that's a lucky escape. But then after that, the Ipswich Town defence regrouped, and they were clearing everything. It wasn't just Christian Walton who was making saves. It was just about everyone in the back line. It was an extraordinary thing to watch. And again, it shows you a little bit about the Kieran McKenna mentality, never say die. And I think that's wonderful to witness.
Before I let you go and bring Sean on, I just want to ask you about Delap, because obviously last time you were on the platform, you were a little bit critical, I think it might be fair to say, of Delap. How did you see his performance yesterday? Did he start to answer some of those sort of questions you had about him?
A little bit. I mean, the way he turned and came inside in the penalty area, I thought was very, very good. But then I am going to be critical. I'll say then he didn't deliver the pass. And if he had it done, I think Ipswich could well have scored, because there were two players in front of him and it was intercepted by a Liverpool player. And the other point that I have to make, and it's a cruel one maybe, the through ball after Connor Chaplin had intercepted and he gave it to Delap. Delap intended a through ball. Well, he got a through ball through to Hutchinson, but it was at an angle, and you needed it to be the eye of a needle, right? Well, not the eye of a needle, straight ahead. Then Amari Hutchinson would have had a massive advantage on the defenders. So that is, to some extent, football naivety. He's a young kid. He's only 21. He'll learn from these experiences, and I think under the wing of Kieran McKenna, he will get better. But at the moment, I don't think he's streetwise enough to score many goals in the Premiership, or even, dare I say it, in the Championship, which he didn't score too many. But let's hope that with time he gets better. That's my honest opinion of the situation.
And that's all we ask of you, Frank. Frank, I appreciate you coming on the platform today. You look after yourself, all right? All the best. And that's what we ask, right? It's your opinion. Come on, have it in your own words and say it. Whether people at home agree or disagree, it's your opinion. It's your chance to say it. And I disagree with Frank on some aspects of it. But I have said to you, didn't I, in our WhatsApp chat, there were two moments where, McKenna will improve him. And that was when we were breaking. I thought his movement with Amari didn't really take the defender away from Amari's run, or didn't leave a doubt in the defender's mind. And that pass selection wasn't quite. But we are nitpicking here. But this is the Premier League. You do nitpick.
Exactly, yeah. And I look, Frank may turn out to be right. We can only sort of.
He won't,
because
that's going to be absolutely awesome.
We'll know by the end of the season, won't we? But those little moments, that through ball, and it kind of pushes Amari out a little bit too much, far to the right. He then has to cut back in, doesn't he, onto his left foot around the D, and as the shot, it feels like the chance has gone a little bit. But listen, they're new to the club. They're new to playing with each other, and as we've always said, you want to see partnerships forming on the pitch, and maybe with Jack Taylor and Smodics, you'd see that more quicker because they know each other's game. They're still learning each other's game. And to be able to do that against Liverpool, the baptism of fire in front of the television, watching world, is very difficult, I think. But if McKenna's the man, he'll get it sorted, absolutely.
BAFTA William Mike D says, thought Delap was good and it's Premier League, not Premiership. I don't know who said Premiership, but I'm going to call it Premiership, Premier League, PL. Do you call it PL?
It was the FA Premiership back in the day, wasn't it, when it first started?
Carling Premier League, or the Carling Premiership.
Was it Barclays for a bit?
Barclays Premier League for a bit, yeah. I noticed that Sky have still got the same theme song this year as they had the previous years, which is, I don't know what the song is, but it started like something like, "They never stop this flame. I won't ever let you go." I don't know what the song is. I think it's
dulcet tones.
No, I can't sing. I never said I could sing. I just thought I'd give you all a little bit of a treat for the years. X Factor is in my future, I think, don't you?
I'll nominate you.
Yeah, oh, I'd love to, sort of just sing in front of the row of judges and just get, that was awful. Who told you could sing?
The big red cross.
Yeah,
that's Fanny Fortunes, isn't it?
yeah.
What a show! Fanny Fortunes, what a show! Brilliant.
We could do a Talk in Town Fanny Fortunes appearance, with old. Is it Vernon Kay still presents that?
I don't know actually. Bob Monkhouse was the original host.
He was. Then there's Dennis.
The Les, yeah. What is,
yeah,
is that still even going? I don't know. If it's not, it's a.
Is it Gino Campo now? I think it's Gino now in charge.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
And they do celebrities now, not Joe Public, which I find is disappointing. I always want to see a person from the public, win a prize. I don't want to see, I don't know, some X Factor or Love Island star on Family Fortunes.
That's another email we need to send in now, don't we? So we've got to send one into.
We're piling them up here, aren't we?
ITV.
Yeah. Dust the typewriter out. Start writing a letter. Clink, 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 clink. Do you remember those old typewriters? Oh no, the tea's smudged.
I think when I got my journalism qualifications, that was the last year they used as typewriters, and then they went to computers after that. Yeah, to buy a typewriter and everything.
Last time we played Liverpool, I don't even think smartphones were a thing.
No, it wouldn't have been, 24 years ago? 23 years ago?
And
2002, 2002, wasn't it? Yeah. 23 years ago.
We were recording the match reaction show on an iPhone, a smartphone. I was thinking after the game, this thing probably wasn't even, they weren't even thought of back then. Like
camcorder in Curry's. Camcorder in Curry's, yeah.
You just go on holiday with a camcorder or a proper camera you take to Boots and get, developed. And you go in a week later and get your pack of holiday snaps back.
Yeah.
Oh, those
mad, isn't it?
Right, those are the times.
Yeah. And now Liverpool using AI for their corners.
I know. Mind blown. Sean, welcome into the platform. How you doing?
Very well, thank you. Yourselves?
Very well. Thanks for joining us. Is that what are your thoughts?
Want more money? You want more money on the old the bingo?
No. I've lost 2 lots so far, and I've actually dipped into the kitty to buy the new kit this year. So I need to build
what
up.
Did you go for? Again. Which shirt?
I've gone for the home shirt so far.
Hang on, you've dipped into the kitty that you won last year to buy the home shirt.
Yeah, 2 home shirts, one for me, one for my daughter.
Love that.
Sean is a match bingo.
I've still got some left in there. I know the only way I can put it down to is not many people were playing, so therefore my odds of winning were greater. So I might have to start going back and playing some of the championship games because the Premiership games get booked up so much. It's all about odds, isn't it? So I can only assume there wasn't that many town fans playing match bingo, so therefore my odds of winning were greater. So we'll have
be
to
gambler aware, over 18s only. So I've got to say that. Got to get that in before someone says something. Sean, what are your thoughts on town then? Obviously you're a man.
Well, I don't think we disgraced ourselves at all. I think we put a really good account of ourselves yesterday. First half was fantastic. You could say that Liverpool weren't quite firing on all cylinders at that point, but I think we shut them down. We did a job which we had to do, and I thought Delap and Greaves were fantastic purchases this year. Absolutely solid. Wolfenden was solid, and I feel a bit sorry for Burgess because I think he's going to struggle to try and knock those 2 off, none of those 2 off, and get in the squad. And it's we saw it last year with when Halagki came in instead of Walton. Once you've got that spot, it's your spot until you lose it. And if Greaves and Wolfenden continue how they did yesterday, I find Burgess will struggle to get in, and Edmondson will struggle to get in as well. So it's the downside of seeing Burgess come through as such a great player he is. Now with Greaves in the side, it's difficult to see him knocking Greaves or Wolfenden off. But I agree with Frank when he was talking about the adrenaline wearing off. I think our players were pumped to the max, adrenaline coursing through their veins. Half time comes in, you sit down, the cortisol kicks in, adrenaline goes down, and we were fatigued, and it showed in the second half. I think Massimo ran himself into the ground, and unfortunately we haven't got a similar player of Massimo's ability or follow that same role at the moment to replace him. That's where I hope Phillips can come in.
Yeah, absolutely. Certainly a player.
Phillips and bring Massimo on, or you start Massimo and bring you swap them about so they can go full bore for the whole game. And I think that's where we dropped off and the load of gaps opened up in the second half.
Yeah, I certainly agree with you there in the sense we haven't got a player yet up to speed that can replace Mass. You know, you've got Phillips now in the building, obviously, but only been there since Friday lunchtime.
Yeah.
You know, the other 4 games, because he can't play twice against Man City. He can certainly be a big part of that. And you're right, how you manage that rotation, whether it's Mass first, then Phillips, or Phillips, then Mass. I suspect it will be Phillips, then Mass in terms of, you know, starting and coming off the bench. But you're right, we missed that. And actually, you've nailed it again with the cortisol. And, you know, in terms of half time, you sit down, you have a cup of tea, as it were, in the old days, and it wears off. And that sort of half time, and that's how I saw it. Second half, we came out a little bit under the energy levels as to how we finished, and I think you've nailed that really well, Matt, don't you?
Absolutely, yeah. I think Massimo will benefit from Premier League just being 1 game a week, because we used to say, didn't we? England can't do 2 games in a week, and that's when Taylor would get his opportunities to save on Messi's legs. But certainly, I think he went under the radar a little bit yesterday. I thought he had a really strong first half in that kind of mopper-upper role, which you don't really know. Like Skews was like that, wasn't he? He's not someone who really got the shining lights, but when you take him out of the equation, you realise the job he did and you missed it. But you can throw Kayusta in when he suddenly gets announced as someone who's going to bring in some energy, whether it be as a starter next week or off the bench. Certainly going to be more box to box and rapid than what Luongo would be. I mean, look, that's not really Luongo's role. Certainly, I think Morsey and Kayusta as a two were very interesting in that dynamic. So let's wait and see. It's good to be talking about all these players, right? All these with that squad depth in that for those centre midfield berths, definitely.
Yeah, sure. Definitely. Sorry, we kept you from coming on, but before I let you go, where do you see Town sort of going next in the transfer window? Where's your shopping list now?
We need more clinicians. I mean, we had some chances yesterday, and in the Premier League, you need to take every single opportunity that's put in front of you to score a goal. And I don't know whether it was the pitch was slow yesterday, but the ball did not get away to create that perfect shot. Hamari had a couple of good shots yesterday. Obviously, Greaves was unlucky with the header. But whenever we got those opportunities, however many or however few it may be, you need to take them. And that's if we could have gone into half-time yesterday, 1-0 up, the game may have been slightly different. It may have been ended in 2-1, obviously. But you know what I mean? It's momentum. It's keeping it going. So when you've got opportunity to take, and you need to take it, you need to take that shot, you need to get that goal, because those chances aren't going to come very often against these big boys. And we did have some really good opportunity yesterday to score, especially when we made that break. I think it was just outside our penalty area, and the ball was knocked through to Hutchinson, and then that final pass just wasn't quite there, or that final shot just wasn't quite there. Well, yes, last year we were banging in goals for fun.
And that's the difference, isn't it, in the levels?
It was our defence that was letting us down. But yesterday, our defence was solid, but we just didn't have that clinical finish to get the goals in. And I think that's where Smodics could come in. So I'm thinking Smodics will take Chaplin, who I thought really struggled yesterday. I didn't think he was particularly great yesterday. So if you could put Smodics in for Chaplin, and then use that triangle of Burns, Smodics, Delap, or if Burns is a bit injured, we don't know the result when he's had his scan, but if you put Hutchinson, Smodics, Delap. I thought Delap fantastic holding up the ball and battling, and that touch he did on the Cobbold stand when the ball came over the top, that little flick on was like, oh my god, we've been missing play like this. However good Hurst is, I think Delap is a better player than Hurst, and I think those two will complement each other as well. So if you at half time or 60 minutes or 70 minutes can bring Hurst on for Delap, you've got 90 minutes worth of solid effort up front and compression, which dropped off yesterday. No disrespect to Al Hamadi, he's not there yet, and he just could not get that back line right. He got caught offside quite a few times yesterday. He was just slightly too early. So if we can get Hurst back to fitness, so you got Hurst and Delap up front, full pressure for 90 minutes, and then you can mix and match that next three to find out the best combinations we got. I just think we need to maybe strengthen up Broadhead's position, where until he's in there, that front left, that left wing, I think is where we really need somebody.
Yeah, totally agree. All right, Sean, I appreciate you coming on. Really nice to hear your thoughts this afternoon. You all the best, and good luck for the rest of the season with Match Bingo as well.
Yeah, I've actually got tickets for Man City next week, as it's only just down the M62 from me.
Nice,
so
enjoy.
Enjoy, yeah.
Enjoy seeing some quality players. All the best, Sean. Appreciate you coming on. Nice to hear Sean's thoughts. And Mike D says, do you think we'd benefit from having 3 in the middle? A midfield of Callista, Phillips and Morsey could help deal with the opposition.
Could see that. I mean, let's not just get, what did Henry Winter tell us? Don't get too sold on just one style of play, which is what Vincent Kompany was his undoing, really, for Burnley. So absolutely, that could well change. I mean, I was thinking that there as well. You're talking about, who would sit with Morsey, be it someone who's going to be box to box or a little bit more defensive, like a Luongo. But yeah, you could add a third body in now. Could be Phillips, could be Callista, whoever it might be. So yeah, I think let's not just get sold on one style of midfield. Could well change up. Yeah.
Would you need more of a natural left winger out and out? I mean, you've got Hutchinson and Burns who can play on the right wing. Hutchinson plays on the left wing as well. But would you need more of a traditional, chalk on the bottom of his boots, hugging that touchline winger?
That's what you said at the top of the show, wasn't it? It's what you'd like to see come in. So, I mean, that would give you the option in order to do that, wouldn't it? If you were going to play a slightly different formation in the middle of the park.
Because you need the width, wouldn't you? You'd need that width all of a sudden,
as
opposed to the central areas which we like to populate with, 210s, etc.
You certainly get it. You'd certainly get it with an Amari or Burns, but and that could be something they're well looking at for this week. Got to make the moves pretty quickly because it shut in less than 2 weeks. Yeah,
and I just want to say a quick word about Liverpool. I thought they were phenomenally good. And obviously, we haven't seen any other Premier League teams this season or any season for the last, 20 odd years. But I thought they were phenomenally good yesterday. And I'm looking forward to sort of rating the teams as they come down against each other, these top teams.
Yeah.
Because that's a little taste of what you're going to see when the Cities, the Arsenals come down with their absolute global superstars. And I just thought, if any Liverpool fans are still watching or are watching, I just thought your team yesterday was phenomenal. I thought they dug in, they battled, and they tactically, in the end, outthought to an extent, in the sense of how to beat the press, how to beat the 1v1s. And that's not a slight on us as a football club. Liverpool, I thought, did really well. How did you see it from a Liverpool perspective for a second?
Yeah, I mean, I totally agreed. I was chatting with me and Chris's friend Nick, who's a Burnley fan. He said we kind of felt the same. You're in the game for 45 minutes. You're in the game for an hour, and then suddenly, because of the quality that they've got across the park, or they can bring from the bench, as you saw it yesterday, out of nowhere, the Trent ball through to Salah into the middle, Jossa, it's 1-0. And suddenly the expectation of oh God, that you probably knew we were going to lose the game at that point, didn't you?
But most, the Premier League side, the promoted side last year, who went toe to toe with the big boys, as some people call them, their issue was taking those performances. So taking that 45 minutes, for example, that we did yesterday into the other games, and often. Whether it be Burnley or Luton, they would perform meekly against the teams that you have to really beat if you want to stay in the division. And that was a lot of the time, from reading an Athletic article anyway, so this is not my opinion, this is the authors, that was their undoing, not taking that 45 into the other game against Fulham or Brighton or whoever. And that's what you have to do, isn't it? You can't get too disappointed with, being in the game, getting beat. You have to take that 45 minutes, examine the life out of it and say, if we take that into 90 minutes across a game against insert team, you're going to be okay.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And as Henry said, if there's someone who can do that, it's going to be McKenna, because he's that obsessed with the detail. They'll just review that game yesterday and then see how that pans out against a Bournemouth, a Fulham, a Leicester, a Southampton. Yeah, we'll see. I did think Brighton looked very good under that, with a manager that's even younger than McKenna.
Well,
they've been hurt so they got out of St. Pauli. They look very good.
Yeah.
And Everton look very poor. You
must know him very well, right? Obviously being a big Bundesliga fan.
Yeah, well, they've always been, traditionally, St. Pauli have always been the second team in Hamburg. Hamburg is the main side, so then they'll leapfrog them into the Bundesliga. So yeah, very interesting to see. I mean, I wondered whether or not he might be too young to come into the Premier League, but look, Everton went down to 10 men against the old campaign of Dyche, and they won 3-0. I mean, look, we never really mentioned Everton, did we, in our pre-season predictions of a team that could be scrambling? I mean, a few people, they were down there the last couple of seasons, didn't they, because of the points losses? They
certainly will be,
to get out of it, but they look like a team that's going to be scrambling. So interesting. And then going back to the other point, when the top teams come against each other, you're going to see that today, Chelsea City at 4:30. Let's see what happens there. But we've put in a great performance yesterday. Everyone's really proud of everybody. Let's see what happens next week.
That was certainly their best song yesterday, Liverpool fans. You're going down with the blue, SHIT.
I mean, a lot of our fans were kind of disappointed that Liverpool weren't particularly very vocal, because you want to hear like "You Never Walk Alone." I mean, they got it on the side of the coach, haven't they? That stayed in Ipswich, of the pictures I saw. So yeah, that was maybe just one little criticism. We were saying that around us, and even the main fan base was singing "We Forgot You Were Here." When you consider your Sunderlands, your Leeds, your Sheffield Wednesdays are pretty vocal throughout when they've come down. But we'll see what everyone else brings to the table when they come to Portman Road.
Yeah, absolutely. And very quickly to round up the show, I'm going to ask you about VAR. Hang on, here we go. Kieran Maguire, an hour ago. Ipswich Town arranged borrowing facilities secured upon Premier League broadcast money for the next couple of seasons.
Oh, okay. We'll have to look into this then.
Yeah.
What Steve was saying earlier, wasn't it, in the comments?
Yeah, absolutely. So and then the first comment under it is it's a bridging loan, which is pretty standard practice for anyone in the replies that they're gambling on the club's future. And here, Kieran Maguire agreed with it. So it's a bridging loan, effectively.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So, which makes sense actually from a financial point of view, in the sense of if you know you're getting this at the end of the season and you need it at the start, you're just drawing it down, aren't you? In the sense of
maybe this is that new money that's coming. We talk about the private equity, and then off the back of that, the guy who owns the Milwaukee Bucks and the fellow who's come in, the Moroccan guy with the Florida Panthers ice hockey team. I mean, maybe this is the influence you're seeing now. Of success, they've owned successful clubs, and maybe this is how they forward funded them. Maybe that's what you're seeing.
They're obviously collecting funds really just to pay our services, aren't they? They're going to suddenly message us with a big financial package of come and host Talking Town. I do host Talking Town. Come and host Town TV, Martin and Matt. Here's a check. Insert your number. Right. I thought
Dave Banter was very good on the mic yesterday. That speech he did at the start was very good, wasn't it? He was very good.
One complaint, and it isn't about Dave. It's about that. I'm not going to swear. That PA system still.
Oh, they said on TNT it was too loud or something.
Too loud? Can't hear a word he says.
It's too loud and it's garbled. It's okay it's all right in the Pioneer, but it's just
it is.
Loud.
The board of directors are in that stand, so it's probably very good.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's very, very loud. Yeah,
we can't honestly. It sounds like I can't really put into words what it sounds like. It just sounds like hello. It sounds like that. Literally, like that's all you hear. You can hear Dave talking, but you can't hear a single word that Dave is saying, and that's disappointing because I like Dave. I think he's going to do a great job this season.
It's another email for the to-do list.
It certainly is. All right, last one. I'm going to finish on the 1:30 mark. VAR. How did you see it yesterday? I thought we were going to get replays of the VAR decisions on the big screen. That didn't happen. What are your thoughts on VAR?
Well, they only really went to it, didn't they, to VAR? I joined in the VAR chant when everyone started to see. Yeah, I thought it would be on the screen. But did they only use it for that moment where we thought we had a penalty in the second half?
Belief offside.
Actually offside. Yeah. Don't know. We're new to VAR, aren't we? So we'll have to wait and see how it pans out.
I thought it went really well, but I just thought I read that one of the new things they're bringing in was to keep fans in the stadium more up to date. You wouldn't see the VAR decisions while it was ongoing. You would see the end decision afterwards on the stadium's big screen, so you knew.
Well, we didn't see that
happen yesterday.
No, we didn't see that. Could you see the monitor then, pitch side? Is that between the dugouts? Is that where that's going to be? If he has to go and have a look? They did that yesterday, didn't they? For the
it didn't work.
Everton. It didn't work.
That is a penalty. I don't care what you say. It's a penalty all day long now on Calvert-Lewin.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah,
but I don't understand how it was overturned. And it sort of when it gets its own. I felt yesterday that decision when it gets its own, unless it's a clear and obvious decision by the ref, we're not going to overturn it. I thought, is that clear and obvious that he's got it wrong? I don't think it is in real speed.
Yeah, good point. Yeah,
you've already with inside whatever minute that was of the game gone against your own new season policy. Like what's going on here? But exactly. I thought it worked fairly well and. The only sport in the world, it feels like football, is the only sport in the world where it doesn't really give too much of a thought into the people in the stadium. Like the NFL, they've got referees standing in front of hard cameras. Yes, broadcasted to those at home, but also letting the 60,000 people know in the stadium. Like flag on the field, holding 10-yard penalty. It ain't just like pick up the flag and do what you like. In football, it feels like.
That is the evolution of it, isn't it? Didn't they try it in one of the female competitions, international tournaments, where the referee actually spoke to the crowd?
And it was great. It worked really well.
I think that will happen. Probably next season, I reckon, is something that they will bring in there.
Or just tell us. like VAR, like as they proposed, put it on the big blooming screen that offside. And here's the video, here's the picture. Like, keep the fans that have paid the money for the ticket, the half and half scarf, the program, up to date. Keep them in the loop, like. And that's also how you stop a crowd from getting on. And it didn't happen yesterday, but that's how you stop, isn't it? A crowd getting on referees' backs if they actually are kept up to date and don't feel like they're being, unfairly treated. Yeah.
Well, let's see what happens when Fulham come into Portman Road in a couple of weeks. See how it pans out.
Fair enough. All right. Anyway, great show today. Really enjoyed it.
Really good. Really good.
Really, really good. Anything else you want to mention before we?
We're going to be back. Are we going to be back tomorrow for the Jens Kahusta reveal?
I hope so. At some point we're back. I'm sure with the Jens Kahusta reveal.
Have you put a call into your Napoli contacts to get someone?
Have I got? Hang on, wait. What Napoli contact? I don't know anybody in Napoli. I went twice. Once for my honeymoon. I certainly didn't make any contacts while I was out there.
Had a good pizza there, presumably.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, probably. Yeah,
I mean, it's the home of pizza, isn't it? Naples.
It is, but I prefer. I mean, I'm a Chicago Bears fan. I prefer the deep dish Chicago pizza.
Oh, right, okay. Fair enough.
Where it's like a pie. But yeah, we'll hopefully be back very soon. I know where I'm going tomorrow, and that is Freddie. And this is the genuine, by the way. I'm going to Freddie. Stowmarket Osteopaths tomorrow. Yeah. I had to move it back. I've got an appointment in the morning, but I'm going to see Freddie tomorrow. And you should too, by the way. Stowmarket Osteopaths, 01449613633. Don't live. No, do live. Don't live life in pain. Give Freddie a call. 01449613633. Don't live. What am I talking about?
It's been a long show, isn't it? You've been emotional. It's been an emotional weekend.
A long weekend.
Canada back in the Premier League. They put a good performance in. Roll on next week.
I slept like a baby for the first time all week last night. Seriously, I must have been subconsciously not sleeping well because of building up to the Premier League. Subconsciously. But yeah, great show. Hopefully back very soon. This man here has asked you to like and subscribe. So follow his advice. Like and subscribe. Check out our social media. Carry on the chat over on our Discord, 24/7/365. If you're not a member there, you become a member by hitting the join button on YouTube or going to Ko-Fi, $4.99. Cancel at any point. Details are in our description. And as I just mentioned, social media, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, or X, as you want to call it, whatever, still Twitter to me. We've got all sorts of stuff going on over there, and you can carry on the chat. We've got 3-word reviews. But until next time, this man here has been Mr. Matthew Phillips, the Media Mogul. I have been your host, the Gov. Thank you for watching. Thank you for liking. And we'll see you whenever town make a signing again. Hopefully, very soon. All the best.
You make me smile when I think of you. If I get down low and I am blue, I can't get enough. Oh, yes, lover. You make me happy, I feel so fine. Oh, how I wish that you were mine. I can't get enough. Oh, yes, lover. Oh, yes, lover. I woke up all soaked in sweat, with chills running down my neck. I felt went crazy from just the thought of you.